cars are on track and warming up their tyres, and that's going to be critical. Let's see how the grid lines up. It's Jason Plato and Darren Turner, the Seat 1-2 on the grid for the fourth consecutive meeting. The second row, Colin Turkington, but tricky conditions for the BMWs, half wet, half dry. Tom Onslow-Cole is fourth on the grid, first of the Vauxhalls. Behind him, former champion Matt Neal in another Vauxhall. Then Stephen Kane, great job by him in the Motorbase BMW in qualifying. Seventh on the grid and eighth, two best qualifying efforts of their career so far for Stephen Jelly and Harry Volkard, but these conditions could be different for them. Tom Chilton only ninth, but he's a winner here at Silverstone in the past. Andy Jordan again in the top 10 in qualifying. He's been on the podium twice in the last two events. Behind them we've got Fabrizio Giovanardi. That's the surprise, but in these conditions it might suit the Italian. Adam Jones starting alongside him in the Team Air-cooled petrol-engined Seat. And then we've got Mike Jordan in the John Guest car, with Matt Jackson starting further back than expected, and of course challenging for independence points on as he's got some work to do. Gordon Shedden a long way down too. He's only 15th on the grid. Rob Collard, such a good effort at Knock Hill last time, but he's going to have to come from a long way back. John George starts 17th. Michael Doyle is 18th. Failed to finish any races on his home track at Knock Hill. Let's hope it's better this time. Jason Hughes and Chris Stockton line up together on the 10th row of the grid, and then as we get towards the back it's Martin Bell and Erkut, the two teammates at Arcus Racing, sunshine.co.uk. Not much of that again here at the moment. And Alan Taylor for Robert Shaw Racing at the back of the field. So Tim, really it is going to be quite difficult out there in these conditions.
Well, as if the short circuit here at Silverstone didn't produce drama enough, the weather is certainly going to do it. It could be okay for those at the front, but for Giovanardi in the battlefield further down the grid, we'll have to see. As far as we know, only Tom Onslow-Cole has taken a gamble on tyres, running slick fronts and wet rears, but there may be some others out there we're not aware of.
So tyre choice could be crucial. There's Tom Onslow-Cole. But we know the Vauxhall's pretty good in the wet. Matt Neal taking his only win so far of the season. That was in the wet at Rockingham. And he was also superb at Croft, on podium in every race, Matt Neal. So that car works well in the wet. Giovanardi's going to have to make the most of it from 11th on the grid.
Martin Bell in the pit lane.
Yeah.
A problem for his car. May have been his car. They were sweeping up some coolant on the grid.
So Giovanardi, he was quick in practice, didn't get it together in qualifying. It was difficult to tell. Not his worst qualifying of the year though. He was 12th on the grid at Croft and came back pretty effectively from that. So let's see what he can do here. Giovanardi, championship leader by some 41 points. His big rival on pole position, it is of course Jason Plato, who's taken the first race win of the day, the last three events that we've been to. So can he keep that record going here today? He's got Darren Turner, his teammate, alongside him on the front row. Watch out for Colin Turkington and Tom Onslow-Cole on the second row as we wait for this race to get underway. All set to go on the national circuit here at Silverstone, the penultimate event of 2008. Lights out, away we go, slipping and sliding, trying to find traction, and it's a great start from Stephen Kane from 6th grid, the white BMW. Look at that, Stephen Kane's challenging for second. Plato gets away well from pole position, but Stephen Kane, an absolutely brilliant start into second place.
Well, there's always a potential for a big difference in starting on a damp track. The BMWs, you know, can put the power down, but Stephen Kane just hooked it up right, and the gap just opened for him in front.
So it's Jason Plato who leads, Stephen Kane in second, Darren Turner in third, and then it looks as though it's Matt Neal in fourth. I think he's got ahead. Tom Onslow-Cole's actually lost a few places. Giovanardi's gained a few. Jelly going over the curve at the exit of Beckett's. He's lost out there, having qualified well, and now he's, look at the middle of that pack.
Oh, that was Collard caught in the middle. That's nowhere. You don't want to be there. There's four abreast coming under the bridge.
Adam Jones in the middle of that lot. We're watching from on board Tom Chilton. Surely this isn't going to all go through Brooklands, the left-hander here. Let's see what happens. Chilton on the inside trying to nip past Jones. Look at them sliding. Look how slippery it is. Just ahead of Chilton there's his teammate Gordon Shedden trying to go around the outside. Fantastic stuff. So far so good, they've made it round.
Turner's up into second place. He's gone. Collard's been turned round as well.
Yeah, Collard, the teammate to Stephen Kane. Kane might be right up there, but Collard ends up at the back of the field. Well, I'm surprised we didn't see more of that. Actually, they dealt with the conditions well. The Seats are running 1-2, but 4th place for Matt Neal, 5th for Turkington, 6th for Jackson, and Giovanardi is in 7th place, let me tell you, as Volkard tries to go around the outside of Copse.
Yeah, well, we need to see how Darren Turner got up there, but the BMWs generally don't like the conditions half and half. They like it really wet or dry. They don't generally like the intermediate conditions. Maybe Stephen Kane just struggling a little bit for grip as Jordan slips up the inside of Volkard.
Andrew Jordan, and is the youngster with the battle with Harry Volkard, and those two guys just inside the top 10. It's Jason Plato who's leading this one. Windscreen wipers still going. There is still some rain in the air. Let's take a look back at what was going on there.
Well, we're looking at what happens to Rob Collard there, the white car just in front of Stockton. Oh, he gets it sideways, and Stockton had no choice but to run into the back of him. That was just a little bit too much power too early. Just what we were saying, that BMW is struggling to get the power down. No, that's a replay.
Oh, right.
That's a replay from the other angle. And now we've got Kane on the grass, his teammate, and he's going to be beached in the gravel.
Was there contact with Matt Neal? He was dicing with Matt Neal for third place. That brings Matt Neal into third place now. Fourth place for Turkington. Fifth for Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson, an amazing start and first lap, because he started down in 14th and he's running fifth. That's amazing. But behind him is Giovanardi. There is Giovanardi. Just see him going through the shot. So Fabrizio Giovanardi sitting in sixth place. That'll do for now.
It'll be perfect. He needs to pick up these points and stay out of trouble. He's doing exactly that. The rain is coming down slightly heavier. It's certainly not drying. This will favour the BMWs as Volcar gets pushed out wide by Mike Jordan this time.
Yeah, it is getting wetter. You're absolutely right. You can see the rain falling much more heavily. You can see that on shot. Here comes Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson trying to get past fellow BMW driver Colin Turkington. He's done it. Lovely move. We've seen how good Matt Jackson can be in the wet conditions, and he's now beginning. Now that it's getting wetter, it's actually helping him. He's actually making full use of that. And Jackson, from 14th on the grid, is now in fourth place. It's amazing. There's Jason's father, Tim. He doesn't want to see himself. He wants to watch what's going on in the race. Well, the lights are out on the safety car, so the race will restart. The lap distance has changed. It's now 25-lap race. There's Fabrizio's wife keeping an eye on his progress to see exactly what's going to happen in the remainder of this race, but still a long way to go. Giovanardi sitting in sixth. He's behind the BMW, the Team RAC car of Colin Turkington. But up front, of course, it's the two Seats. His big rival, Jason Plato, leads this race. Right behind him is Andrew Jordan, who's having another outstanding run here. And behind him, it is Gordon Shetton, who's come up well from his qualifying spot. Then it's Mike Jordan as well. Here we go. Race restarts then in very wet conditions. And look at Matt Jackson immediately on the attack for third in the white BMW. He's going on the chase of Matt Neal, and Matt Neal's going to have to go a bit defensive into Copse Corner. The spray makes it more difficult, harder to see where you're going now. Colin Turkington following him through, and then it's Fabrizio Giovanardi as the lead group gets away, and then Andrew Jordan heads up that next group.
Well, Matt Neal and Matt Jackson, two very hard racers. Matt Neal, don't forget, he's down in fifth in the points, and he wants to move back up. He would like to finish at least third if he possibly can in this championship, so he's not going to give way. But Matt Jackson is on it. Oh, look at that, missed. The spray, the windscreen's missed it up on Chilton's car. It's actually illegal to run like that now, but the scrutineers have got to see it. But it'll get to the stage where he'll really have to come in. I'm surprised at that, because they do run electric screens in these cars, and they should back that up with an anti-fog mist on the screen, but they obviously haven't, and his electric windscreens failed.
Shetton has got past Andrew Jordan and Mike Jordan. In fact, Andy must have made a mistake there, because he's about to be passed on the inside by his father, possibly. I don't know. Mike Jordan on the inside, Andrew Jordan on the outside. Careful, boys. That's where Mike had his accident a couple of years ago. He doesn't want to hit the wall there. That was a nasty shot. And up front, yeah,
Jackson's got inside Matt Neal. He's got the inside there, and I think he will go through. And I think, having gone through, he'll probably go ahead fairly quickly. Well, we never expected Matt Jackson, when he was starting way back on the grid, to be the one that was going to take the challenge to the Seats, but he may well just be.
It's brilliant.
Oh, Matt Neal's fighting back.
Good stuff from Matt Neal. Matt Neal wants that place back again. This is for third, remember. Right behind is Turkington and Giovanardi. Giovanardi might get a chance to attack Turkington there. Not quite. Matt Neal and Matt Jackson, though, going at it very, very hard indeed. Good stuff between the BMW of Matt Jackson and the Vauxhall of Matt Neal. And again, as they head down towards Brooklands, it's going to be a battle on the brakes here. Matt Neal on the inside, the former double champion who won a title here at Silverstone a few years ago. Meanwhile, Giovanardi trying to get alongside Turkington, can't quite make it.
Well, Jackson had got past Matt Neal, but I think he ran wide at Copse and got on that grass creek and spun the wheels up and lost momentum. He's trying again now, the same. This is a repeat of last time's move. Now he's well past. He needs to make sure he gets Copse right, and Giovanardi is past Turkington.
Yeah, that was a clever line by Giovanardi. Found more grip on the inside on the exit of Luffield. So Jackson up to third. Giovanardi now up to fifth place. So more changes here. And Jackson this time holds on to that third. ahead of Matt Neal, but it has allowed the two Seats to just open up their advantage.
Yeah, you just saw Matt Jackson's car slide then just on the exit. That's the curve he's got to stay off. It's not so much of a problem with the front-wheel drive cars, but it is for the rear-wheel drive cars. We've already seen them spinning when they touch the curves on the outside.
Matt Neal is ahead of his teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi, and you've got to think that Matt Neal might make life a bit easy here for Fabrizio Giovanardi.
Yeah. Well, that was the opposite issue there. Coming out of that tight corner, the front-wheel drive car couldn't get his power down. It made him go wide, but the rear-wheel drive car could turn tight and drive away.
So a bit of light flashing going on from Giovanardi. He's saying, come on, Matt, time to let me through here. But he's going to have to select a moment where Matt Neal can do it without causing himself too many hassles and putting himself under pressure from Turkington, and then Gordon Shedden, who's running 7th. Andrew Jordan is again still just ahead of father Mike Jordan. They're both in the top 10, and Stephen Jelly is in 10th place. Good to see him in the points as well. But Matt Neal at the moment not letting Giovanardi through, who's coming under a bit more pressure again from Colin Turkington. So the Vauxhalls need to think about this and how they're going to play it.
Yeah, the professional way of doing it is for Matt to just pull to the inside as he's doing there, and let Giovanardi go around the outside, but then not let the other car, Turkington, do it. That's exactly what he's done. That's the professional way of doing it.
So Giovanardi's up to 4th place. He started back in 11th, but as ever, Giovanardi making places in the race. You're looking back at Matt Neal now, who's now going to watch out himself for Colin Turkington tucked in behind. Giovanardi will be pretty happy with this, though. He's only 3 places behind his big rival Plato now. Jackson has not been able to close up that much yet on Darren Turner, but that's still a possible battle. As Giovanardi holding on to 4th, ahead of Matt Neal, and then Turkington, and then Gordon Shedden, and then the 2 John Guest cars, and then right behind them Stephen Jelly. Harry Volkard just outside the top 10 at the moment. He's sitting in 11th with Stockton 12th, and Michael Doyle now down to 13th. Tom Chilton's down in 14th place, ahead of Jason Hughes and Rob Collard. Around they come to complete another lap then.
Well, Jason Plato set the fastest lap on the last lap. We're only halfway through this race. I suspect he probably has had the hurry up from the team when Matt Jackson got through into 3rd, but he was a bit slower on that lap. Both Turner and Jackson 0.3 of a second quicker.
They've got to look after these the lead that they've got at the moment. The turbo diesel probably not the easiest car to drive in the wet conditions. You've got a less smooth power delivery, lots of power there, but obviously they've got to control that, and it's not perhaps quite as straightforward as in the petrol powered cars, so that'll give them a challenge. Andrew Jordan ahead of his father, and then Stephen Jelly as they come through Beckett's corner, but the Seats still have a good edge over Matt Jackson in 3rd place. Bit of
that's just his windscreen sticker on the top. It's the buffer strip on the top. Very often you get rain underneath the lip. If it isn't quite attached properly, of course, with the wind it just escalates, but it's nothing to worry about. It's only the windscreen sticker.
Look at the lines they're using. Giovanardi using a very wide, deep line into the corner. Early gear change as well.
Yeah, very early gear change to try and stop the car wheel spinning. I used to drag the brake a little bit in a front-wheel drive car with my left foot on the exit of a wet corner as a form of traction control, but Giovanardi just changing up a bit early.
Look at the points. If it were to finish as it is now with Plato leading and Giovanardi in 4th, then Giovanardi would be on 236. He'd have a 31-point advantage. That would mean Plato would have closed the gap by 10 points already in this event. And look at there's a bit of a, we're just looking back, John George has had a bit of a moment by the look of it. That was up at Beckett's, but hopefully he got back on again, I think, without any damage.
Yeah, nice little bit of car control there from John, but just outbraked himself into Beckett's. That's the one place you can outbrake yourself. At the end of the straight here, where they're coming down to Brooklands, they brake really, really deep and hold the brake on while they're turning in, so not much margin there, as I've already found out this weekend, to brake late.
Gordon Shedden still just ahead of Andrew Jordan, who makes a bit of a mistake there. Might have allowed his dad to get alongside. Yes, he has. So again, they're side by side. And Mike's found a bit more grip there, but you never know. Andrew might find more on the inside. Well, this must be a bit of a worry to Judith, Mike's wife, and Andrew's mother, as she sees them racing so hard. But right behind them, they've got to watch out not to let Stephen Jelly join in too much.
Yeah, well, the one thing you knew, they weren't really going to run into each other on that occasion. They gave each other lots of room. I guess Mike felt that Andrew had a turn at leading, and now it was his turn. But Mike Jordan, the cold trickle of British touring cars, resembling a NASCAR drive with his open face and moustache, but he's showing that he's got a lot of feel for for these conditions.
Yes, he has. And now Andrew Jordan there's got the pressure on from Stephen Jelly. And Stephen, having one of his better runs of the season, he qualified extremely well yesterday, and he wants to be in the points once again. He's been knocking on the door of scoring points so many times. He has scored a couple of times, but he wants to try and be a bit more consistent, and that's what he's showing here. There's Matt Jackson, though, fastest lap to Jackson on that last lap. So he is still going well, but he's, what is he, still a second or so behind the Seats, who you can see just heading around to complete this 15th lap.
Yeah, but over 3/4 of a second quicker on that last lap alone. So he's really got the feel for it. It's all about experimentation, just feeling the grip, feeling how much throttle you can use. Literally driving on eggshells right to the edge of the road, as you saw there, but no further. He mustn't run on the slippery curb. It's just so close. He's doing a good job. Jordan and Jelly here. Andrew Jordan. Jelly trying to go around the outside. Andrew's not going to give him as much room as he gave his dad. Puts him on the curb, and of course we know the BMW spins the rear wheel up, and it's goodbye.
Yeah, well, that was always going to happen. Jordan had the line, so he was always going to squeeze out wide. Jackson getting that bit closer, as you say, though. He's gained a bit more on that last lap, not quite as much as he did previously, but he's definitely getting himself into an attacking position here for Darren Turner, who's going to have to begin to watch his mirrors. But Jason Plato will be fairly happy that he's got his teammate between himself and Matt Jackson, so that will be Darren's job to deal with that. And Jason looking for yet another victory. They're certainly winning plenty of races this year, Asea. Those non-finishes.
Yeah, watch Matt cut to the inside now. That's the move that he pulled on Matt Neal very successfully earlier. He gets a really good drive there. Out of Luffield and out of Beckett's, the two tight corners. The BMW can lay the power down and turn a lot tighter. So he's got a chance there, and he's also got a chance out of Beckett's. But look how much quicker on the straight the diesel is.
Yeah, now this is, look at the quick run through Copse Corner that Matt Jackson has. Very, very quick through there. Turner's going to have to really work hard now to defend second place from the flying BMW. What a star Matt Jackson is in these kinds of conditions. As you said, that drive at Croft was remarkable, and he's doing it again from 14th on the grid. He's now battling for second place here, and still plenty of laps left, certainly to take second. Jason Plato might be harder work, not quite alongside enough to get in the place just yet.
No, as I predicted, he can get the initial acceleration, but it's never going to be enough momentum to actually get him all the way down to the braking area. But he's clearly got the quicker car, and it won't be long before he's having a go. Look, he's going to force Darren somehow into a little mistake, and then he won't be able to use the power of that car to stay in front.
Yeah, he's looking for the grip. Jackson looking for the wider line. He'll be cautious here on the outside, but he's done it, and despite a little tap, he gets on the curb. Oh, that loses him traction. That did hurt him, so he drops back behind again.
Yeah, it's never going to work that, because you saw him having a bit of a slide. So and he's on the radio to his team complaining about Darren's tactics, but Darren's not doing anything wrong at the moment. He's just using his car's strength to stay in front.
And there's the strength. There it is. Look at him power away out of Copse Corner, and that gap opens up. This is frustrating for Matt Jackson, and his team are telling him just stay cool. That's all he needs to do. Remember, in the independents, he's leading the independents in this race. He's sitting second in the independents points, is Matt Jackson, to Colin Turkington. Turkington is second of the independents in this race, but this is a huge result. Oh, and problems for Mike Jordan. Has he been off? Or,
he's got contact. It's either contact or it's a broken rear toe link, obviously, but I don't know whether that's happened as a result of contact or just a failure.
That's a shame. So we've lost one of the Jordans. That brings Stephen Jelly up to 8th place now, and Harry Falkard 9th, and Adam Jones into 10th. So there have been some other changes there. Somebody else has dropped back a little bit. Matt Jackson up the inside now to try and take that second place. Side by side again, but he can't quite get in front because that Seat diesel power is still too much.
No, he's got to take a lunge somewhere and hope that he can push. Here we go. Yep, he's got to make a lunge and try and push or force Darren Turner wide and lose enough time that he can't get it back on the next straight.
Yeah, that was great stuff from Matt Jackson. Really, really good. Aggressive piece of overtaking. Beautiful judgment. And he's up into second place now. Well, we've still got 6.5 laps remaining here, so Jackson's still going to try and close that gap to the race leader, Jason Plato. Can he stop Plato's run of victories in race one of the weekend? We've had so many of those in recent events, but Jackson wants to try and do something about it. Meanwhile, Giovanardi still sits fourth in this race, just to remind you. Turkington is in fifth, ahead of Matt Neal. Matt Neal has dropped a place over the last lap or so. Andrew Jordan's in seventh, Mike Jordan, though, out of the race, and that bitterly disappointing. It looked like we were going to see both cars well up in the top 10.
Yeah, they were going really well, and Mike was beating his son for a change. But Matt Jackson, he's made the gap on Darren Turner, and he's going to be the quickest on this lap, I predict. I mean, Jason Plato's gone over the line at 9.7. Jackson's gone across an 8.9, nearly a second quicker on that lap.
Wow, that's impressive stuff. Watch this, though. Andrew Jordan and Stephen Jelly are at it again. Nothing to choose between them as they came out of Luffield and through Woodcote. And Andrew Jordan, both with the wipers working hard. Jelly taking a much deeper line in. He's looking for grip on a completely different line there to Andy Jordan. They come out at similar sort of speeds, which is interesting. And Stephen Jelly using, no doubt, his experience from racing here in Formula 3 in the past, and maybe looking for a bit more grip in different places. It's definitely got a bit closer. He's running 8th at the moment, this for Stephen Jelly. Good result, potentially, for him. But Jason Plato does have to watch out a bit. Matt Jackson is closing the gap.
Yeah, well, Jason's going to do exactly the same as Darren Turner did. He's going to use the car's strengths for as long as he possibly can. But he wants the points for winning, but he doesn't want to have a non-finish, so it could be an interesting scrap.
Behind, by the way, Giovanardi's closer to Turner. Now that could be very interesting, because Fabrizio Giovanardi, of course, championship leader, is getting closer to the other Seat. How much of a gamble does he take in trying to get past him?
Well, he won't actually want to pass him, but he'll want Turner to slow down, because he's got Turkington behind him. And he's in a difficult position here, because does he attack Darren Turner because Turkington's catching or not?
Turner did a slow lap there. You know, what he's trying to do is he's trying to back Giovanardi up. He's trying to make Giovanardi have to fight off Turkington. This is going to be an interesting tactical battle here.
Yeah, this is a little bit. This is where team orders get a little bit naughty, because he's really backing Giovanardi into Turkington, hoping that Turkington's going to attack Giovanardi and cause him to non-finish or something, which is a little bit naughty, because he's clearly not running at the pace he's capable of.
Meanwhile, Matt Jackson getting that little bit closer to the front, to Jason Plato. Watch in the background, Darren Turner then, and Fabrizio Giovanardi. Plato having to do some lappery here, and in fact, not having it all that his own way. Oh, now he does, so he gets up the inside and doesn't lose too much time, but Matt Jackson pretty close behind here, and still in with a shout.
Oh, more than a shout, I think, and we know how Matt loves to win races, and he'd like to get his name on the top step of the podium this year.
Third place is still Darren Turner. Looking in the background, he's got a little bit more of a gap that time over Giovanardi as they come across the line, but both in the 1 minute 10s and slower times than you might have otherwise expected. Turkington still in 5th place, Matt Neal in 6th, and Stephen Jelly, by the way, is now 7th. He's got ahead of Andrew Jordan, so there has been a turnaround between those two. There's Giovanardi there, the windscreen sticker flapping around, but it's not hurting him too much. Again, Turner fairly steady into Beckett's. Here's where Giovanardi's going to try and take advantage, but he has got pressure now from Turkington. There's no doubt that Turner is playing a bit of a game here. He's trying to make Giovanardi have pressure on from behind.
Yeah, and well, I'm still amazed that Matt Jackson still every lap he's
and
talking
Turkington is past Giovanardi.
Well, I think Giovanardi's actually decided it's better just to drop one pace than be knocked off, because there is a gap behind him to his teammate Matt Neal. He knows his teammate won't take him off.
No, and I suppose if Turkington goes on the hunt trying to get past Turner, then actually Giovanardi might be able to take some advantage of that. Turner there just getting past the Arcus Racing Vauxhall Astra, and so does Turkington, so does Giovanardi, but Giovanardi's dropped a place now. He's in 5th position as they've completed 22 laps. We're on lap 23 out of 25. Still a little way to go, and I wonder what's going to change here. Turkington, of course, wants to get past Turner. He wants a podium finish out of this one, and to keep Matt Jackson within sight. Those two battling for independence honours. And third best independent in this race now is in fact Stephen Jelly, running in 7th place ahead of Andrew Jordan. Adam Jones is up to 9th place, and Harry Volkard is in 10th. Tom Onslow Cole, by the way, he's done well. He's up to 11th because he made that pit stop earlier on, if you remember, and Jones did as well. Both those guys. Jones has got to 9th, and also Cole's got to 11th.
Yeah, exactly. You forget about them because they were dead last at the back of the Crocodile, but obviously they had a brand new pair of wets on as well on the front, so that would... Oh, Chris Stockton's, I think, well, he's dropping fluid there as well from the radiator. He had that, he ran into the back of Collard when Collard had that spin on the first lap, and whether he's had further contact or it's just actually broken finally, I don't know, but he's added a bit more coolant down there.
Turkington on the attack of Turner. This is for 3rd place, and no holds barred here, no tactics or strategy. It's a straightforward fight for 3rd place. That's what both of these guys are going for here. If the championship, if the race finishes as they are right now, of course Plato has managed to close that gap a little bit. Giovanardi's dropped a place since we last looked at it, so the gap would be now 29 points between the two of them, and that's a good gain for Plato, coming in 41 points behind as he was. Look at Turkington trying to go deep into Beckett to get the run out of the corner, but of course Turner's power should mark the difference between them as they come out of the bend.
Yeah, now, I mean, Giovanardi had no choice really but to let Turkington attack Darren Turner and hope something happens there, and hope Jackson managed to attack Plato. But Plato actually seems to have got the gap under control. It's been stagnant for the last couple of laps, despite Matt Jackson initially romping up to the back, but he hasn't made any further progress.
Still Turner versus Turkington. Good stuff this between Seat and BMW. Cutting out of Luffield. Giovanardi following at a respectful distance with Matt Neal behind him still. And Darren Turner, with again, once he gets on the throttle, again he just is able to ease away slightly. And it's going to take a bit of a gamble as we go on to the final lap here for Turkington to try and take that 3rd spot. Let's see what Adam Jones and Andrew Jordan have been doing.
Well, they're both going past Urquhart round the outside. 2 young chargers, 2 of the best young chargers, and well, a good move by Adam Jones, because as you say, he did start way back and he's now up to 8th.
That's a really good drive by Adam Jones with the pit stop up to 8th place, fighting his way past Andrew Jordan there, and well done to the Team Air Cool driver there, Adam Jones, and he is now 4th with the independents in this race. But we're in the last lap. Jason Plato under a bit of pressure from Matt Jackson, but he should be able to fend him off through the last couple of corners. It's been a wonderful drive by Jackson. Plato, remember, did start on pole, and he's led every single lap, and he is going to come through once again to take the first win of the day. This is the 4th consecutive event that Jason Plato has taken the win of race 1. It's also the 100th podium finish for Seat Sport UK in British touring cars, and in fact it's going to be 101 because Darren Turner just holds on to 3rd place from Colin Turkington. Giovanardi finishes 5th ahead of Matt Neal, and Stephen Jelly gets one of his best results of the season in 7th. Adam Jones an excellent 8th ahead of Andrew Jordan and Harry Volkard. But Jason Plato takes his 8th win of 2008, Seat's 10th victory. Well, that's exactly what they wanted coming into this meeting, to keep that championship alive.
Yeah, congratulations all round. Plato did everything he needed to do in that race in difficult circumstances. Giovanardi drove a tactical race, not to lose too many points, and finish 5th, which is good. And great races from Jackson, Jelly and Jones.
Indeed, some good fighting drives from behind, but Jason Plato controlled that one from the front, initially with his teammate as backup, but once Jackson was in 2nd place, Plato couldn't afford any mistakes. He was quick, controlled. He's got the technique sorted of driving that turbo diesel in the rain, which can't be easy with the power delivery being slightly different to the petrol engine cars, but Plato seems to have got it sorted, and he used that power very effectively. So Plato the winner by half a second from Matt Jackson. Darren Turner taking 3rd, and then Turkington in 4th place, but it's Jackson that took the independent win there. Giovanardi 5th, Matt Neal 6th, Stephen Jelly an excellent 7th, Adam Jones with a pit stop, a superb 8th, ahead of Andrew Jordan, and Harry Volkard took 10th position. Behind them, just outside the points, another good drive from Onslow Cole with a pit stop to finish 11th. Chilton 12th ahead of Shedden. The Team Halford's cars not really going that well in those conditions. Jason Hughes 14th ahead of Doyle, Collard, Martin Bell, Urquhart, John George, and poor old Chris Stockton with damage at the end of the race.
Well, celebrations down here in Parc Fermé for Jason Plato, coming through to win in very difficult conditions in the rain in race 1 of the day here at Silverstone. But congratulations also to Matt Jackson. Another brilliant drive in the wet to go from 14th to 2nd place in the final result. and also some cunning tactics at play from Seat. We'll hear all about it in a couple of minutes' time. So the first British touring car race at Silverstone for almost 2 years has been won in the rain by Jason Plato from pole position, and that's especially impressive considering the ballast he has on board. If we have a look in the championship, Giovanardi's lead then down by 11 points to 30 from Jason Plato, and we can hear from the race winner now in the pits with Janie.
Well, Jason, you've got 6 wins from the last 10 races and you've managed to close the gap on Fabrizio by 11 points today. Talk to us about how you're thinking your approach to the championship.
I'm not really thinking about the championship, if I'm honest. I'm thinking about each race, and you know, we just got to score as many points as we can, and if that's enough at the end of the year, it is. If it's not, as I said before, we'll go down the pub.
Well, Fabrizio, 11th to 5th on the grid. Quite a difficult race for you, though. You got a bit of damage.
Yeah, no, the start was perfect because I couldn't make better. I gained 6th position in the start, and the car was pretty good in the beginning of the race. And then when I'm trying to overtake Turkington, I had little touch, so I think I bent something in the front steering wheel, and from that I started to have some little trouble, and I had to slow down, so I lost in the end 1 position against the BMW.
You love these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. The rain is awesome. You know, I absolutely love the rain, and been praying for rain at Knock Hill, and as you know, never came. So really, when we looked at the weather this morning, we said, there's a bit of rain. We looked at the forecast and the weather station, and it was coming, and for sure it came at the right point. You know, it's I thought it was going to be a bit different on the warming up lap when we went out on slick tyres, and pretty quickly I managed to find a barrier, so that wasn't too good on the warming up lap. But no, to come out with a second place is fantastic from 14th. It's brilliant for the championship. It's great for BMW Dealer Team UK and Accidents Exchange.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks very much, Janie. Well, Silverstone has played host to so many significant moments in world motorsport, from Senna to Schumacher, from Hill to Lewis Hamilton. And as part of our celebrations, the golden anniversary of the British Touring Car Championship, this week we're looking at the guy who's the most experienced. It's Matt Neal. And up till this weekend, he'd started in 371 races since making his debut here at Silverstone, incidentally, back in 1991. But this little gem from the archives is from 1994.
Master on the left, Master on the right, Vauxhall in the middle. They're absolutely together, side by side. They're very close. In fact, they touch. Bang, bang. And that is Neal, and that is a very big one indeed. Roll, roll, roll again, all the way down the straight.
That accident destroyed the car and prematurely ended Matt's season. But he came back the following year, and when in 1999 Alan Gow offered £250,000 to the first independent driver to win a race outright, Matt took up the challenge. At Donington Park he started from pole and was still leading on the final lap. Your commentators are Charlie Cox and John Watson.
He's now quarter-ways through the lap. He's only got 2 corners to go, coming through Goddard, and here we will have history made live here at Donington Park this afternoon.
What he could coast it from here. He's through the chicane, through the left, through the right. He's down across. They're all on the pit wall, the checkered flag, and he has done it. Matt Neal has done it. The independent Matt Neal has won a round of the British Touring Car Championship. He led from pole position. It was the pit stop race, and he has won it.
Matt's next target was to win the title. No independent and been crowned overall champion since Will Hoy in 1991. In 2005, Matt had his chance.
They're through the last corner now, and Jason Plato is going to take victory in round 29 of the championship. But Matt Neal is the British Touring Car Champion of 2005. He's done it. He's done it. An independence team has taken Matt Neal to the title, and not just any independence team. It's his family-run team.
Well, Silverstone has been putting out the big celebration this weekend, celebrating the golden anniversary of the British Touring Car Championship. Sorry, mate. And in celebration of that, we had 19 past champions and many fantastic, legendary cars. And here's Ben Edwards with some of the highlights of that.
Thank you, Ted. There were some lovely cars out there earlier on. Bill McGovern in his Hillman. We had Andy Rouse out there as well. And Andy, of course, a 4 times champion. And he was out in the Ford Sierra RS 500. in the Labatt's colours, and still looking fabulous even to this day. Great colour scheme on that car. And Andy Rouse, one of the real all-time greats, if not the all-time great of the British Touring Car Championship. But as you can see, the cars from various different eras were involved in that sort of display that we enjoyed earlier on, and some interesting drivers out there. We had Barry Williams, Wizzo Williams, driving an ex-Jerry Marshall Vauxhall. We had Jack Sears, the first ever champion. Well, he was out there, and in fact had another champion alongside him, because Sir John Whitmore was actually acting as passenger to Jack Sears, who was the first champion in 1958 and then won it again in 1963. He was out in the Austin Westminster 105. But we had Ford Caprice, the Triumph Dolomite Sprint there. That was out on slick tyres. Tony Dron was at the wheel of that. The track conditions were a bit slippery, but as you can see, they were taking things pretty steady. They weren't going to go out there and try and prove themselves heroes. So the fact that he was on slick tyres in that Triumph Dolly Sprint actually wasn't too much of a problem. And we had the Mini out there as well. Richard Longman, the champion of 1978 and 1979. A wonderful display, and it was just tremendous to see some of those star cars and star drivers of British touring cars out on circuit again.
Okay, thanks very much, Ben. It's absolutely criminal to see how slowly they're going round. But I'm joined by two absolute legends of the British Touring Car Championship. I feel really lucky here. We have four-time champion Andy Rouse and Bill McGovern, a three-time champion who really dominated the series in the early 70s. Andy, that was criminal, really, driving the Escort RS 500 too slow round there.
Yeah, it's hard to drive it that slow, I must say. It's a 550 horsepower race car with lots of turbo boost, and it doesn't like to go slow.
Good to see the old girl, though, get back in the car.
Oh yeah, just like going home, you know, you sit inside and it brings back all the memories. It just looks just like it used to.
And Bill, what were you in?
I was in a Sunbeam in Hillman, actually, which I drove to the championship in 70, 71 and 72.
Seems amazing, really, in this era of, you know, big cars, the Vectra, and of course going back a few years with the Mondeo and even the Volvo, that the Imp was there winning championships.
It was a good Imp. I mean, it was a terrific car, and it used to go like the clappers, and yeah, really superb.
Well, what sort of favourite memories did driving that car around bring back to you? Some great fights you had from the past.
Certainly, it was the era of classes. We were a 1 litre car in sometimes 2 litres, 3 litre cars, and of course we were mixed up with them, and it was always good fun to see us, you know, get them into the corners and so on.
Okay. Of the grid here, Andy, do you think? Do you look at this actual racing with these guys, Jason Plato, and do you feel, yeah, I know really what they're feeling. I know what they're thinking.
Well, exactly, yeah. I've done it so many times. I've won 60 races in the Touring Car Championship. I know how it's done. And I wouldn't like to be sitting on the grid today in all this wet weather.
Oh, you would. I'm sure you would.
But yeah, at Silverstone here, we've had some great races, and of course the best era probably was the RS 500, certainly for me and for my company that prepared racing cars. That was the high point. But in the mid-90s, the championship reached a real peak with the super touring cars and 10 manufacturers on the grid and lots of professional drivers. But it's good to see so many good cars and good drivers here today, and it's getting back to the way it used to be, which is great to see.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, thank you very much. Bill, thank you very much. Enjoy the racing. Well, we will see the current generation in action. That's round 26 live in a couple of moments' time. Well, it hasn't rained for about 10 minutes here at Silverstone, which is a blessing for the huge crowd we see there at the BRDC headquarters. But it's been Jason Plato's day so far. He really needs to win this race coming up, though, to maximise his points. But he does have the Rainmaster Matt Jackson alongside him on the grid. So we'll go up to our commentators, Tim Harvey. And first, we'll rejoin Ben Edwards.
Thank you, Ted. Well, it's good racing once again that we're looking forward to here, Tim, because of these weather conditions. You can never tell what's going to happen when you get this bit of rain, track beginning to dry, anything can happen.
Yeah, but this time Matt Jackson's really going to fancy his chances. He's on the inside of the front row. If he can make a good start, he's a lot further forward than he was in the first race and could get in front of Plato.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here then. Jason Plato starting on that pole position with the weight, but as we know, with the weight, ballast probably not making so much difference in these conditions, and we know how strong that Seat diesel turbo engine is. But there's the BMW of Matt Jackson, who was the fastest car on circuit in the first race. He set the fastest lap. and also useful points in the independents category as well. He's just closed the gap up. In fact, he's sitting joint third in the overall championship with his big rival Colin Turkington as a result of that earlier performance. So here we go, the formation lap, the way they go. Jackson a little bit slow away there, but Plato quite promptly off his pole position, the rest of them easing away. Now, let's not forget that Fabrizio Giovanardi's quite well up on the grid this time, starting from 5th place, so we'll have to see how he goes from there. So here's a look at the grid lineup then. It is Jason Plato on pole position, then Matt Jackson alongside, Darren Turner and Colin Turkington on row 2, and then the Vauxhalls of Fabrizio Giovanardi and Matt Neal on row 3. Behind them, Stephen Jelly looking for another strong result with Adam Jones alongside. Andrew Jordan starts 9th with Harry Volkard in the Chevrolet Lacetti, and then it's Tom Onslow-Cole in the other Vauxhall with Tom Chilton for Team Halford. Team Halford's definitely struggling a bit. Their other car back there in 13th place ahead of the MG of Jason Hughes going well. Michael Doyle and Rob Collard are on row 8. Martin Bell and Erkut are on row 9 in their similar Arcus Racing Astras. Then it's John George. Chris Stockton isn't going to be on the grid, I'm afraid. He's not been able to make this start. So that gives a bit of extra boost to Mike Jordan, to Alan Taylor, and to the man starting right at the back. That's Stephen Kane. So through the mist and spray they come, but the rain has not been that heavy over the last 20 minutes or so.
No, it's just this persistent drizzle that stops anyone really being brave enough to try the slick tyres, so they're all on wet, so the degradation will be very similar between them, but I think Matt Jackson would have particularly liked it to have been a bit wetter.
Yes, that's right. There's no real sign of any kind of dry line developing yet. I suppose, can we see that perhaps developing during this race, do you think?
Yeah, we will, because obviously predominantly the cars all run on one part of the circuit, and these wet tyres, they do suck up and draw a lot of water, so they will dry certain parts of it, and at that point it'll start to deteriorate the tyres very quickly.
So everybody moving into place. Andrew Jordan, Harry Volkard. Volkard's having a good weekend so far. Good to see him in the points there with that 10th place finish last time out. They made some shock absorber damper changes at Knock Hill that have worked here as well, and he was very pumped up yesterday after qualifying when he did one of his best, in fact, qualifying performance to date. They're lining up on pole position, though, is Jason Plato. He's been pretty good off the line, I have to say, over recent events.
Yeah, he's been very good, and he had a very good practice start. Matt Jackson, not such a good practice start, but now they've got heat in the tyres, it's all a little bit different.
Here we go then, all set for the second race of the day at this penultimate event of the British Touring Car Champion of 2008. It's Jason Plato up front, his big rival Fabrizio Giovanardi starting in 5th place. The track is damp and slippery, they're all on wet tyres. And what's going to happen over the course of the next few laps? Let's wait and see. Engine revs build. Lights out, away we go, and Plato does get off the line well, but Jackson matches him. Jackson coming through, squeezing by the pit wall, and he is going to try and take the lead from Jason Plato. Side by side, down towards Cops Corner, he's in front. They're not even side by side as they turn in. He's got the BMW in front. What an excellent start there once again by Matt Jackson.
Yeah, he just initially got too much wheel spin, but he managed to cure that wheel spin and get the wheels driving the car forward, and Plato looked at closing the door, but didn't dare risk being put in the wall.
Look who's in 4th place, it's Giovanardi in 4th, behind Darren Turner. Little contact between Giovanardi and Turner, or did Turner just get sideways? Hard to tell. Right behind them there's some pushing and bumping going on as well, but Giovanardi got off the line pretty well.
Yeah, we need to see where they are, because I think Turner is alongside him, he is, and on the inside.
This could be crucial. Look at the leaders. Plato going back for the lead. Plato retakes the lead, does he? Jackson's going to go right round the outside of Brooklyn to watch behind as well. Turner and Giovanardi are attacking one another as well. Look at them looking for the grip on the outside, trying to go deep into the corner there, Jackson. The car floating around on the surface, but he stays in front.
Yeah, he just caught that curve on the end. Turner's in the gravel. And was there contact with Giovanardi there? We need to see that.
Yeah, could have been. While Turner's recovering. Meanwhile, battle up front still between Plato and Jackson. Plato using the diesel power to try and get alongside. He's done it. He's alongside. But can he hold it? Jackson's going around the outside at Cobb's Corner. Wonderful stuff from these two. Jason Plato, a former champion, the top man in British touring cars, along with Fabrizio Giovanardi. But Matt Jackson, the youngster, really showing them what he could do once again in wet conditions.
Yeah, Plato could have lent on in there, but he knows Matt Jackson's got nothing to lose and he'll be desperate to win, and he's going to sit there, I think, in 2nd place for a little bit. He's got a gap behind him. He's better off letting Matt Jackson get his foot down and keep a gap behind him to Giovanardi.
Plato's got a great run though going here, and he's not going to waste it. He's going to get alongside the BMW. Again, it's going to be a battle on the brakes into Brooklands, but this time Plato surely has the edge. He's taken the lead once more, as long as he doesn't run wide on the exit. Jackson looks for the opportunity. There isn't one, and Plato's in front.
That was a great pass, actually. He really slowed the car down from a high speed very, very well. He didn't run wide. He didn't allow Jackson the opportunity to break round the outside like at the end of the first lap. A really good pass there. Brave pass by Plato.
But third place is Giovanardi. Plato's big rival is up there in third place, and off is Jelly, Stephen Jelly from 7th. He was running well. So up front it's Plato, Jackson, Giovanardi 3rd, Matt Neal is 4th, Colin Turkington 5th, Adam Jones in 6th, then Onslow Cole comes through. There's Gordon Shedden ahead of his teammate Tom Chilton for Team Halfords, and then behind them we've got Rob Collard, who's gone a very good first lap once again. Good start from Collard. He started fairly well down, but he's in the top 10. He's ahead of Michael Doyle, Harry Volkart, but the safety car is on circuit. The safety car has been called. You're watching Michael Doyle there getting alongside Collard, in fact, and getting the place. Well done to the young
Harry
Scot.
Volkart as well. We were hoping to see a second Chevrolet out this week with Andy Neat in it, but the deal fell through sadly at the last minute. But he'll probably regret that, because the Chevy's been very quick this weekend.
Yeah,
and I did see in the corner of my eye as well Andrew Jordan retiring into the pits, or at least stopping in the pits.
The medical car is out there as well as the safety car, so somebody's obviously been off. Adam Jones, they're all racing back to the line though, remember. They're allowed to race back to the line, then they have to settle down and follow the safety car, but it's Plato leading, Jackson, Giovanardi and Neal, then Turkington and Adam Jones, followed by Tom Onslow Cole. Across the line they come, now they all back off, get picked up by the safety car, driven by Scott Stringfellow. Now they back it all off, settle down a bit and wait for the track to be clear. Oh, and we've got
Turner and Doyle.
How did that happen?
That must have happened as they were coming back to the safety car. I don't think they hadn't got to the line, but that was coming back to the safety car. It looks like Brooklands to me. We saw Doyle going inside Volkart at Beckett, so I think this will be Brooklands. Here we are.
Try and see what happened here.
Doyle spins. Oh, and just recovering, Turner locks up and slides wide.
Of course, Turner was that far down because he'd been off on the exit of Luffield.
The exit of the first lap with Giovanardi, which we still haven't seen, but he's not getting out of that.
No.
This is the incident, I think, coming up, which is at the end of the first one with Giovanardi. Well, first we're going to see the start. Now, initially, Matt Jackson spins the wheels, but then he backs off the clutch a little bit more. Then the car starts to drive. Plato doesn't want to turn in on him against the pit wall. Has to give way to him.
Yeah,
Turner is now through into third, but then later on in the lap. Now, this is Giovanardi on the left of your screen, inside of Turner. He's inside Turner. Oh, no, we've missed it. We've missed it.
Yeah, Jelly just seemed to go straight on into the gravel trap. That was at Luffield corner. And unfortunately out of the race as a result. Now let's see if we can see it here.
Yeah, Giovanardi inside, Turner taking the wide line, Giovanardi taking the inside and then just leaning on him, pushing him out wide. Very aggressive move because Turner was on the wet line and, well, bouncing across the grass. He lost tons of places, which is what put him behind Michael Doyle in the first place.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Hard, muscly racing from Giovanardi, but he's not known to take things easy, is he? He was always going to try and charge, try and push. Look at the update on the points. Giovanardi, if it stays as it is now, would be on 245, and Jason Plato would be on 220. So Plato's still closing that gap, but not by as much as he wants to. Only one more race after this one at Silverstone, and then the 3 races, of course, at Brands Hatch at the season finale. So there is the look inside the Seat garage, one of their cars out of the race.
Well, you get the impression, don't you, that after the first race, when Seat backed Darren Turner into Giovanardi, he wasn't going to take any nonsense this race.
No, absolutely. So we'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens here. But, well, there is Giovanardi being watched by his wife Patricia down in the pits, on board camera with him. And he's pretty focused and pretty determined. He didn't want to get caught up behind that Seat of Turner. He knows how quick it is in a straight line. He saw his opportunity and he took it. We'll have to see if there are any judgments made on it later. But at the moment, he sits there pretty in third place.
I mean, that was racing. There are 2 lines round that corner. You can take the wide line or the inside line, but if you're on the outside in a touring car, you've got to expect that the guy is going to lean on you. Giovanardi probably could have given him more room. In fact, I'm sure he could have given him more room, but this is touring cars, and that's the way the guys race. And there was only one place that Turner was going to go, but Giovanardi made sure that he lost a few places as well.
That's right, absolutely. So Plato waiting for the safety car to come back in, but the lights are still on at the moment, so we're not going to see it in just yet. Jackson still in that very, very strong position in the BMW, running in second place. And remember how he drove from 14th to finish second in the first race here, and now holding on to second place, leading independent.
I'll tell you who we need to watch out for, and that's Adam Jones, because Adam Jones is in 6th place. And remember his remarkable drive-through in the first race. He had a brilliant drive-through from second to last.
Yeah.
This time he's in a much closer position, being in 6th with the safety car out as well.
Now, further down the order, we've got Tom Chilton. Now, this was him earlier on when we were still under race conditions. Let's just see what happened to Turner, maybe up ahead in this group, but there's quite a long way at the front of this group.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Turner bouncing down the grass on your left in a minute. Yeah, there he goes, and slips through, very nice.
Absolutely. So that was all fairly straightforward. So Plato, Jackson, then Giovanardi. Then Matt Neal, Colin Turkington and Adam Jones, as you mentioned. Top 10 at the moment completed by Tom Onslow-Cole, Gordon Shedden, Tom Chilton and Rob Collard, who got back into that 10th place, particularly as, of course, we lost Michael Doyle on the lap when they all saw the safety car come out. Mike Jordan's got himself up to 12th place, by the way. He had to start further down. He was back on row 10 because of an incident with Gordon Shedden in race 1 earlier today that had some damage to the rear suspension. It was under a bit of investigation, that incident, but I don't think any decision had been made. So Mike Jordan up to 12th, but Andy Jordan, as you mentioned earlier on, Tim, he's out of this race. Something went wrong for him pretty much at the start, so he is out of this one. He's not going to be getting another reverse grid pole on this occasion. On board Jason Plato, you're just looking back at Matt Jackson. Conditions not really changing that much. It's that sort of dampness in the air that doesn't allow the track to dry up much, even though we're still in our supposed summer.
Yeah, you'll see the guys in these conditions, they're not really weaving very much, because in actual fact, weaving, particularly when it's this wet, it's not that wet, all they're going to do is actually wear their tyres out. So yeah, they're almost weaving just out of something to do, a bit of boredom creeping in behind the safety car, but no great advantage in it. The BMW, they can see it's stuck in gear and the rear wheels won't turn, which makes it even harder to pull out the gravel.
Absolutely, yeah, that's not ideal for them. He's managed to, that's good, well done.
Yeah, stuck it in neutral, well done, Marshall.
Yep, that's good news. So they can get the thing moved out of the way more quickly, and around we come to complete another lap behind the safety car. 7 laps completed out of this race. We'll have a few added to the original race distance of 22 laps, but that will come through once there's confirmation of how long this period lasts, and the rest of them coming through. There's Adam Jones in the Team Air Corsair. You just saw him at the head of that group, running in 6th place. The MG of Jason Hughes running in 14th place currently. Martin Bell and John George still in the race just behind him. But Giovanardi very much the man to watch in this one. 3rd place, and determined to not let Plato get too far out of reach. And remember, there is a reverse grid for the 3rd race today, so it will depend on who finishes where as to who ends up on pole position for that final race of the day. Lights are off now, so we will see the restart this next time around. And Jason Plato now beginning to gear himself up to lead the pack across the line once again and go back to racing.
Yeah, from the first race, there's Darren Turner running back. There's no spare car for him, so he might as well take his time. He obviously wants to get out of the rain, but Plato, I don't think will play any games here. He will just go immediately he gets out of the last corner, because he knows that he'll gain more of an advantage. Because everyone goes wide to get a really good straight line on the exit, and now Plato will be off.
Yeah, now he's going to use all the power that he's got to try and drag the BMW of Matt Jackson. Giovanardi tucked in behind Jackson, then Matt Neal, then Colin Turkington. Could be under a bit of pressure over the next lap or two from Adam Jones in the petrol-powered Seat, the silver and red car. And then it's Tom Onslow-Cole. Jackson takes a deeper line there into Cobb's corner. Giovanardi right behind him. So Giovanardi will be very anxious to try and take that 2nd place and not allow Plato to gain any more points than necessary. But nonetheless, he won't want to take too many risks either. Matt Jackson's car moving around under braking again as they come into Beckett's.
Yeah, Giovanardi obviously with the advantage of Matt Neal behind, but further, Adam Jones has been pushed out wide by Turkington, and Tom Cole getting on the act as well.
Yeah, Adam Jones really had a good run on Turkington there, trying to go around the outside of him, but as you say, he got squeezed out wide. As you say, in touring cars, that's what happened if you try and go around the outside of somebody. And what's happening there? Jones under pressure now from Tom Cole, but Cole in the Vauxhall can't quite get the nose in front, so he has to settle in behind him once again as they turn through Brooklands and into Luffield. Cole might just sneak up the inside here. Depends on how much traction he can get, and he'll give a bit of a spin. Giovanardi's through. Jackson's dropped 2 places. Jackson's dropped 2 to Giovanardi and to Matt Neal, and he might lose. Yeah, he's lost another one to Turkington.
Yeah, the front-wheel drive cars there, the quickest line in the wet is to go in wide and come out tight, but of course the front-wheel drive can turn in tight, and once they're alongside, they just push the others wide. See, there we go. This is, oh, there was contact, quite a lot of contact there.
Yeah, that was Giovanardi up into the door there of Matt Jackson. Jackson won't like that one much.
No, he won't, and in a way, he was lucky that he hit him again to push him straight, because the front-wheel drive cars don't self-straighten. Turkington runs wide.
Yeah, that's right. It's given Cole an opportunity. Jackson now under pressure from Adam Jones. And then right behind him is Gordon Shedden and Tom Chilton, the 2 Team Halfords cars. Playing it a bit quietly so far here this weekend, but maybe they're about to join in the fun and games themselves. Plato now has a reasonable lead, but it's over his big rival Giovanardi, who's definitely taking a few risks in this race. Interestingly enough, Giovanardi, he's had enough of hanging back. He's really on the attack, and he doesn't really care who he takes with him. Leaders come through Luffield. Oh, Tom Cole, big slide in the middle of the pack there as Adam Jones tries to go round the outside of Matt Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, Matt Jackson's going to spin this time. Oh, and he gets collected by one of the Halfords cars.
Yeah, absolutely. What a shame for Matt Jackson. That really is so disappointing. It's Tom Chilton that made the contact. Wasn't much Tom could do about it. The car was spinning in front of him. Oh, what a miserable time it is for Tom. He's not having a good weekend on a track that he's won in the past, where he took his first ever win and became the youngest ever to win a British touring car race. But for Tom, it's not coming together.
Well, I'd be amazed if that hasn't done the radiator on the front of Matt Jackson's car, but he's going to persevere and watch the gauges and hopefully not break the engine. But it has put Adam Jones up a few places.
Just take a little look back. That was Cole getting sideways initially.
He collects it up.
Matt Jackson gets it out of shape, and here comes... Oh, ouch.
Oh, that was a hard hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, big bang there. Take another look at this, Tim.
Well, in fact, it's the contact at the front that actually pushes the back out, pushes the front inside, and then the back oversteers wide in the rear-wheel drive car. Couldn't save it, and then unfortunately get collected by young Tom.
Ironically, Chilton had a great run out of that corner. That's why he'd moved to the inside, because he didn't want to hit the back of his teammate, and so he ended up hitting the BMW. So if the race were to finish as it is now, Giovanardi would have a 27-point lead. So Plato, well, he needs something to happen to Giovanardi, really. He really needs somebody to join in the mix. The problem for Plato is that behind Giovanardi is his teammate Matt Neal, so he's not going to cause Giovanardi any problems. He's going to try and keep everyone else behind him. So from Plato's point of view, this is exactly not what he needs, and in fact Giovanardi isn't that far behind.
No, he's not. I mean, I think Plato's best hope at the moment is a little bribe to Bob Kettleborough, the clerk of the course, to take some action over Giovanardi's robust driving.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens. You never know, there might be some action taken. We'll have to see. There'll be some investigations, I'm sure, but whether they'll take any action or not. Into Brooklands, the left-hander they come. Listen to that diesel say, it's so quiet. Hardly any noise at all, but it's working very effectively here.
Yeah, Plato taking a sort of middle to wide exit, not right the way around the outside, but then cutting in late. Giovanardi a slightly wider line all the way around there, but still carrying good speed onto the straight.
Major consequences for the independence battle, because with Jackson having that incident just now, of course he's dropped well down the order, and it means that Colin Turkington is now top independence in this race. There he is in the orange Team RAC car. He's running 4th overall, but of course he's leading independent, so looking to score the maximum. Second independent in the race at the moment is Adam Jones. He's running 6th overall. Mike Jordan down the inside of Harry Volkart. In fact, it's Volkart trying to get past Jordan, and he's done it. Volkart has taken 10th place there from Mike Jordan.
Oh, this is earlier on the lap. Volkart into the back of Mike Jordan, who saves it with a big application of the throttle. Probably doesn't get such a good exit, and then Volkart round the outside. But I'm surprised Mike didn't lean on him there. He could have got his own back.
Yeah, he could have done. That was a pretty good recovery, good car control, but he had to give best to Volkard in the end. There's Adam Jones coming through shot. Now Shedden next up. Here we've got Collard and Kane. In fact, I think it's the other way around now. Those two motorbase cars. There's Volkard and there is Mike Jordan coming through. And I wonder if Mike, as you say, is going to try and return the favour down here as they come to the next part. This is where they did get together last lap around. He takes a very, very deep line, looking for traction around the outside. Volkard, oh, he's on the curb too much there, surely, but he's got in front.
Oh, yeah, well, Volkard gave him a lot of room there, and Mike took more than he needed, and, I mean, had that been a rear-wheel drive car, of course, we've seen what would have happened. It would have spun the wheels up, and he could have struggled to hold it, but the front-wheel drive car, pulling itself along, copes with those curbs much better. So
he's back into 10th place, Volkard 11th, Jason Hughes 12th, Martin Bell is running in 13th, Matt Jackson back to 14th with the damage on his BMW, and a quick mention of those two motor-based BMWs, they have swapped on that last lap, as we thought. Stephen Kane is 8th, Rob Collard is 9th, but there's our race leader. And look at the flashing of lights from Giovanardi.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he wants to achieve by that, because Plato's probably going just about as quickly as he can do. I think Giovanardi's just having a bit of a laugh with him. I'm still here, mate. Whatever you do, you can't get rid of me. I've got my teammate behind me, and I'm going to have the points. So just a hello, I think.
Yeah, probably. Giovanardi did say his tyres had certainly were past their best by the end of that first race, and that's partly why he dropped back into the clutches of Turkington, for example. But hopefully he'll be looking after those tyres and running them onto the wet part of the circuit if necessary. It doesn't look as though they need to yet.
No, at the moment it's still enough moisture, no dry line appearing, no real standing water, no puddles, no danger of aquaplaning, but enough water there to keep the wet tyres cool.
Gordon Shedden running in 7th place. Of course, we've lost the other Team Halfords car from this race, that incident between Jackson and Chilton, where Chilton really had nowhere to go, so he's gone into retirement, and up front it's still Plato leading, just the one Seat in the race after Darren Turner's incident early on, 2 incidents in fact, the second one ending up in the gravel at Brooklands. That's the damaged BMW of Matt Jackson. He's still there though, he's still 14th, he's out of the points, but might as well try and continue and see what he can do. In fact, I gather that Darren Turner has made it back to the pits, and he's with Janie.
Darren, Fabrizio took you out there. Remember, we are live, so please do not swear.
Yeah, I'll try not to. Yeah, I mean, it's just bad driving, really. It's not very sporting. You know, they're fighting for the championship, and it's a dirty way to fight. You know, he hit me twice into turn 2, and then made sure I was well off line into the Luffield complex, and then made sure I was into the gravel by just keep hitting the car. And unfortunately, our front right was damaged from that. And then after, or just when the safety car was coming into play, with the damage and everything else, I just lost it into Brooklands. But the main thing is, it's like, you know, in race 1 we're fighting fair, and it's just, you know, from the bosses at SEAT, they're very much, you know, if we're going to win this championship, then let's do it properly. Where it doesn't seem to be the case at Vauxhall. It's just dirty, unnecessary driving, and it's not often I have a grizzle about a driver, but I think Fabrizio's, you know, from now, if he wins the championship, I don't think it's a very good winner.
Hey, thanks for finding the time to talk to us.
Thanks, cheers.
Strong words from Darren Turner. He's obviously pretty fed up, but meanwhile, it's a good battle going on here. Gordon Shedden and Stephen Kane. This is for 7th place. We've got the motorbase BMW on the attack here and down the inside, and I think he may well take it as long as he hasn't run too deep into the left-hander. Looks good. Yeah, and he's through.
Yep, good move by Kane. He's past Collard and Paul Shedden past him, so he's got some good pace in the wet. But yeah, Darren Turner, he's obviously got an aggressive attitude on this weekend. He's unshaven after being accused of being a bit of a baby face up at Knockhill, so he's come back and looking a bit hungrier, a bit more aggressive, and he's clearly not happy with Giovanardi. But well, we'll have to see what Bob Kettleman makes of it, and not make too much of a judgment ourselves.
Look at the speed that the Vauxhall carries through that Copse corner, but as soon as they come out, then the Seat has the edge again. Giovanardi still very close to the back of Plato, and it's good to see the two of them racing this hard, and in fact he's tucking the nose alongside the back bumper of the Seat. This is great stuff. Giovanardi's got in front. How did he do that?
Well, he's just got a bit more tyre underneath him there. He can turn tighter. He's going to have to defend the inside now, though, and Plato's only chances to go outside. It's a little bit of a risky manoeuvre, this. Giovanardi must feel that his car is quick enough to make a quick gap on Plato, because he's put himself potentially in a position where Plato could have drive him off. I don't think Plato would for 1 minute, but he's got to be clear of him, and he's already pulling out a bit of a gap, so very confident. And he'll now, of course, allow Matt Neal to attack him as well. So good move by Giovanardi.
Let's not forget that Plato carrying maximum ballast, and Giovanardi only carrying 9 kilos. I don't know whether that has any bearing.
Yeah, it does have a little bit, but this is just grip. This is pure grip, because it's front-wheel drive, and Giovanardi can turn tighter, get more grip, get more traction, and literally just run inside of the Seat.
Well, Giovanardi has come from 5th on the grid to take over the lead of this race, and that certainly does change the complexion a little bit in the championship. But now Matt Neal is trying to get past Plato. There's no love lost between these two. They've had their incidents in the past. Neal squeezes alongside. Oh, they make a little bit of rubbing there, and that's going to give Turkington a chance to get through.
Yeah, that's exactly why Giovanardi's wife very happy. He wanted to get through because he knew he stood a good chance then of Plato being attacked by Neal and Turkington. That's exactly what's happened.
But Turkington hasn't given up on trying to get past Matt Neal himself. That would be for 3rd place. Team RAC driver trying to nip past the VXR machine of Matt Neal. But Matt Neal, very, very good in this car in these sort of conditions. He's going to be tough to pass. Been a while since Matt had a race win. Of course, he won earlier on this year. Oh, Turkington had a pretty good exit there. But behind, Plato's been passed by Adam Jones. What's going on now?
Well, it must have some kind of... But let's see how quick that set is on the straight. I mean, Plato still seems... Oh, depression there in the Northern South team. But it does seem to have lost some pace for sure.
It does seem odd that he just can't match the sort of pace that he was earlier on, and suddenly Plato's struggling here. Could this be the championship ebbing ever further away from him if it finishes as it is now? Giovanardi be on 251, he'd be 40 points ahead of Jason Plato. And now he's coming under pressure from another Vauxhall, this time Thomas O'Cole, and look at the face of Scott Dennis, it tells the story. Seat can't quite believe this. There's the face of Jason Plato. Glances down at the instruments, and from what was looking so dominant earlier on in race 1 and in the early stages of race 2, it's all fallen apart for them.
Yeah, well, he certainly had lost some grip from the front end, but he also seems to have lost some of that straight line speed, because he couldn't retaliate against the petrol-powered Seat, and he couldn't really retaliate against the Vauxhall either.
No, it's strange. He does definitely. I mean, out of these corners, he's been so quick up to now. Look at the battle for 3rd. Turkington's grabbed it. He's, in fact, 2nd it is. The battle for 2nd now. Turkington into 2nd, ahead of Matt Neal, who drops to 3rd. And Adam Jones is right there with them as well. Another outstanding effort this from Adam Jones. Independence class being led by Turkington there. He's now in 2nd place overall with Matt Neal behind him and Adam Jones going after them as well. Good stuff.
Jones might have a chance here. Matt Neal put 2 wheels on the curb, lost traction, and he's done it.
Oh.
Great stuff by Adam Jones. Oh, Turkington's run a bit wide as well. A little touch on the back from Matt Neal on Jones. A little bit naughty, but Jones is going to hopefully have enough speed to hold the inside into Brooklyn.
2 lads from the Birmingham area, Adam Jones and Matt Neal, both going absolutely door handle to door handle here. Matt Neal, a double champion. Adam Jones, one of the younger stars of British touring cars this year, who really has made a name for himself already, but Matt's got the edge here. Touch between them, just enough to keep them both on the tarmac. Jones takes a much deeper line. Tom Onslow Cole is catching them as well. He's got past Plato now, Tom Onslow Cole. So Plato's lost yet another place. He's down in 6th place. Oh, look at this! Jones almost through the advertising hauling.
Well, yeah, I mean, good job the banners. Oh, there's going to be... Oh, that was close. That was close. Good racing, but Jones on a flyer.
Oh, this is good racing, but it's only going to take a little bit for it to end in tears, isn't it, between Adam Jones and Matt Neal. Well, Jones feels he can beat anybody on his day, and why shouldn't he? He raced against Fernando Alonso in his karting days, and now he's showing Matt Neal, double champion, what he can do.
Well, we said watch out for it, but he's certainly doing well. He's on a podium now, but we've got Janie down in the Seat garage, I think.
Yeah, guys, I was just talking to Scott Dennis about Jason Plato at the moment, and he was saying he hasn't had any response from Jason. No kind of talk back over the radio saying he's got any problems at all, and he just assumed that perhaps there's something, maybe his tyres are going off. But other than that, we've got no news, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, thanks, Janie. It's obviously not a major problem, but he's just struggling a little bit. Looking around in his mirrors, he's trying to see who the next one to attack is. It's Stephen Kane is next up. Look at Kane trying to run around the outside here. And that's why Jason's busy looking in the mirrors. Good run off the corner from the Northern Irishman in the BMW. And again, not quite there as they come across the line.
Yeah, but still, Plato not seeming to have a huge straight line advantage. Maybe he has, but Jason, I'm not surprised he's not on the radio. He's an old hand, and he knows the team can't do anything about his problems at all. So it's better for him to just concentrate on doing the best job he can. And Jones is making inroads already into Turkington. You know, he's not given up on second.
No, and a battle for the independent win between the two of them, Turkington and Jones. And here comes Stephen Kane again. Down the outside this time, he's got to try and get a good exit off the corner. He's going to try and run around the outside here of Plato. Now, if the Plato car was working as it should be, you'd think he would just power ahead at this point, but he just doesn't seem to be able to do that.
No, he doesn't pull out sort of 2.5, 3 car lengths that you expect, does he?
Not at all, and in fact, Kane
comes Kane,
still there, isn't he? He's still there on the inside and completes the manoeuvre. Definitely that car, the number 11 machine of Jason Plato, is not at its healthiest, shall we say. He's still driving the wheels off it, but he can't do anything about these guys coming past. So Stephen Kane up to 6th place now. Good result in prospect for him once again. And the Motorbase team certainly been having a much better run of it more recently. But Seat, what can you say about their season? Every time they claw their way back up, they attack Vauxhall once again. Something seems to count against them. They've had too many non-finishes this year, and it does look as though they've got a problem in this one as well. Giovanardi, big lead over Turkington, and in the points as well. He's got a 42-point lead effectively at this stage over Jason Plato. So a big advantage coming up here for Fabrizio Giovanardi if they finish where they are now.
Well, remember, Seat had those terrible engine problems earlier in the year, the mysterious cutting out of the engine. It doesn't appear to be anything like as bad as that, and they really felt they got on top of that. And it was some problem of with the injectors, but they felt they got on top of it. It seems to be like it's just a mild case of that, doesn't it?
Don't forget, though, that he's sitting in 7th place, and with the reverse grid applied for race 3, he might still end up on the front row if they can cure whatever's wrong with it. He could still end up with a win, and Giovanardi would end up back in the pack again if he wins this race. So certainly not all over yet. Anything can happen, as we've already seen with Matt Jackson earlier on. He's now trying to get past Martin Bell for 13th place with that rather beaten up looking BMW.
Yeah, the camera's still working amazingly on the side front of that. I'm staggered the car's been able to continue, because it really did have a big hit, and you'd have thought the radiator would have gone, but certainly would have done if it was a Porsche, that's for sure. But yeah, Plato in 7th place, probably be just his luck if it's only the top 6 that get reversed.
Yeah, absolutely. Jackson now trying to get past Bell. I tell you what, that car can't be handling great. I mean, he's lost a lot of aerodynamics at the front. The front wheels are probably pointing in slightly different directions, but he's still going really well. And Jackson, you can see how difficult it is to drive. Look at them when he turns into the right-handers.
Yeah, that's very nervous on the steering, isn't it?
Yeah.
He lets to coax it into Woodcote, almost like a boat.
Well, he's doing all right. He's still outside the points, though. There's Turkington in 2nd, leading independent. Jones in 3rd, Matt Neal in 4th, Onslow Cole in 5th. I tell you what, Vauxhall are going to take a massive number of points out of this race, because they've got their cars 1st, 4th and 5th at the moment, whereas poor old Seat not going to take much at all from this. And in fact, the Manufacturers' Championship is basically going to get wrapped up here and now for Vauxhall, I think. What an amazing sequence of successes they've had over the years at Vauxhall. They're going on to their final lap, and Giovanardi very much in control.
Yeah, he's driven a good race, hasn't he? It worked out perfect for him. I think he would have known that Plato had some kind of problem, and that it was worth him going past. He certainly wouldn't have risked it, as I said, if he wasn't sure he was a lot faster. It's worked out perfectly for him.
It really has. There will be a bit of investigation after this race into some of the antics, I'm sure, of Giovanardi, but he was being forceful. The question is whether they feel he was being overly forceful, but that's not for us to decide, and I'm sure some of the other teams will want to look at it as well. But otherwise, Giovanardi has driven brilliantly, as we've come to expect from the man who won the title last year and who was desperate to try and take it again this season. He has got the car in front and then just held it there, the gap 3.7 seconds. And you know what? It's been a long time since Vauxhall have had a victory, because they've had to sit and wait for this opportunity.
Since Croft.
Yes, since Croft. It's been a long time. Yeah. So 3 months or so since Vauxhall last won a race, but it's going to be Giovanardi who takes victory here at Silverstone, taking Vauxhall's 8th win of the season, Triple Eight's 99th victory. They've almost got that 100th win that they've been waiting for. He takes victory then. Turkington is 2nd, Jones is 3rd, Matt Neal is 4th, Stephen Kane in 5th place, Tom Onslow Cole chases, but Plato finishes down in 7th.
Yeah, he'll be very disappointed. These two are still going at it. Volcard and Hughes battling for 11th place.
What a save, but Hughes may have got that. This is for 11th. I think Jason's going to get it, isn't he, in the MG?
Well, look at the understeer on Volcard's got. He got full lock on and full power.
Good to see. Jason Hughes takes 11th place on the line, getting it from Harry Volcard, but well done to both those lads who have put on a race right to the end. But Giovanardi can celebrate a very significant victory there on board with him, and you can tell he's pretty happy about that. It has really now put Plato and Sayat on the back foot, and I reckon, Tim, that's enough for Vauxhall to have wrapped up the Manufacturers' Championship. I can't confirm it just yet, but I reckon that Vauxhall's 7th Manufacturers' title in 8 years.
Yep, a fantastic performance by them, a brilliant car, brilliant team, full marks to Vauxhall, full marks to AAA VX Racing.
So they're heading back into the pits, and Giovanardi, it's been a long time coming since this win. It's his 5th win of the season, but he's done it ahead of Colin Turkington, Adam Jones and Matt Neal. Stephen Kane in a good 5th, Tom Onslow-Cole in 6th, but poor old Jason Plato struggling to finish 7th. Gordon Shetton was 8th, then Rob Collard and Mike Jordan completed the points finishers and might be in with a shout in the reverse grid. Behind them, Jason Hughes just beat Volcard on the line. He was ahead of Matt Jackson, Martin Bell and John George, and then a number of non-finishers, I'm afraid, including Tom Chilton, Michael Doyle, Darren Turner, Stephen Jelly and Andrew Jordan.
What a very entertaining race that was, and now that the ballast is off on that Vauxhall Vectra, what a great performance from Fabrizio Giovanardi, coming through the murk and the rain to win his first race since Croft 11 rounds ago. We'll hear from him and explain all the other questions arising from that race in a couple of moments' time. Join us then. Welcome back to Silverstone, where it's raining yet again here in Northamptonshire, and a very eventful race involving the race winner Fabrizio Giovanardi and Darren Turner. First a little tap there, and then a very significant tap on the way into Woodcote, which prompted this response.
If he wins the championship, I don't think it's a very good winner.
Okay, right, well, we will put that to Giovanardi in a couple of moments' time. Look at the gap then, 42 points. It's gone up by 1 from the start of the weekend here. 251 Giovanardi, 209 for Jason Plato. And let's take a look at the independent drivers. Colin Turkington began the weekend leading that, and despite Matt Jackson having a good weekend so far, he fell away in race 2, which means that Turkington is still leading that from Jackson, Jones, Stephen Kane and Rob Collard. Okay, Jason Plato is down in the pits with Janie.
So, Jason, obviously you had some problems in that race. Looked like you were losing power, or at least having some problems with the performance of the car. Can you enlighten us anymore?
Well, I mean, the car was good for the first few laps, and then I just started to have less and less front grip, and traction became an issue. And then I couldn't, and then I couldn't turn into the corners. Just, you know, we obviously haven't got the setup right. You know, we made some changes between race 1 and 2. Race 1 was a kind of a halfway house wet setting, in that we didn't really know it was going to rain, so we didn't put our wet setting on. Now we've put a wet setting on. Perhaps that's just hurt the front tyres, you know, a little bit. But you know, that's one of those things. So sometimes you get the setup right, and sometimes you don't. We clearly didn't there.
Well, it looks like you're smiling now, but earlier on you looked really peeved. I mean, was that just because the way the car was behaving, or is it, you know, a bit of argy-bargy out there at times?
It's touring cars, isn't it? You know, that's what it's all about. No, I mean, you know, we want to perform at our best, and when we make a little mistake with a setup, and that includes me, you know, of course, you know, you get a bit wound up. But we'll have to have a look. For some reason, our tyre pressures are coming really low down the right-hand side. Obviously, got a little clump off Matt there when he came through, so maybe that has a little effect. But you know, the car wasn't working at its best, you know, just prior to that. But that's touring cars. That's how it is.
Certainly is, and we love it. Thanks very much, Jace.
Pleasure.
Okay, thanks very much, Janie. The strange lack of pace from Jason Plato. Right, I'm joined by the race winner and the slightly, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Slightly controversial Fabrizio Giovanardi. Darren said that wasn't very sporting, those little touches you gave him, especially the last one into Woodcote.
He can say what he thinks, because he does a good job for his team, as he has to do. He has to do. Anyway, there was a little touch. It didn't come out. I think it's a normal counter.
Yeah, well, this was the first one, wasn't it? You did knock him a bit.
You did what?
You did knock him a bit into the side.
No,
Well,
but it's not. It's not what. It's not the.
No, that's the first one. We're going to have a look at the second one in just a second.
Yeah.
Come on, then explain yourself.
What I have to explain? I overtook him.
You did touch him a bit. Well, that's Jackson.
Yeah, you know, it's quite easy to sleep on the wet. He wasn't doing good job. He's tried to slowing down before the corner to save obviously Jason, and I did my line. I did my job.
So you slid into them. It was the rain.
Sorry?
It was the rain. You just slid into them by accident.
We had the touch in the outside. We joined two wheels together, so I think I could have a problem too. Anyway.
Yeah. Did you drive drift differently in this round compared to the last two? You look like you were giving it some in this race.
Obviously, I left the ballast once. We completely changed the setup because we were very struggling in the first race. We played the last cars because we've seen Jason really quick, and lose 10 points per race is quite a lot.
Okay, Fabrizio, thank you very much. Stay there because you have the honour of deciding who is on pole position for the third race of the day. These are the numbers to look out for. If you pick up number 6, it will be Tom Onslow Cole, your Vauxhall teammate. Number 7, Jason Plato. Number 8, Gordon Shedden. Number 9, Rob Collard. And number 10 will mean that Mike Jordan will be on pole position for the third race of the day. Okay, we have Jade here who will spin the balls, and you just have to go in there and pick somebody out, please.
Where is he?
Where is he? Okay, who have you got? Come on.
10!
Number 10! Oh dear, right. Well,
I couldn't do worse.
Any worse. No, that means you will be starting from 10th, and that means that it'll be Mike Jordan. I tell you what, these Jordans are getting all the luck in these draws. And here's Ben with the rest of the grid.
You're absolutely right there, Ted. I don't know